So when creating your PSA, there are basically 5 things that you have to think about. First, in planning it, you want to think about your objective. Is your objective to help the nonprofit get volunteers, collect money, or people to show up for an event? So you need to determine what the organization hopes to accomplish with this PSA. Next, you want to think about the audience. So we talked about demographics, and we talked about how important it is in commercials to hit the right audience. But with PSAs, you really want to make sure one very important thing that I think a lot of nonprofits forget about, which is you always want to make sure that you leave your audience with a sense of hope. And every time I think about a PSA that I don't think really does it very well, I think about all those animal PSAs that just break my heart because they show all these animals in cages or animals being abused. And I feel like they miss that sense of hope. So I usually turn those off because they make me too sad. You want to make sure that you include your slogan for your nonprofit. You know, American Red Cross, United Way, big companies like that, of course, have specific slogans. And then if there's a bonus item, if there's time for it, so if you're doing something for an event, muscular dystrophy walkathon, you know, maybe you want to tell a little bit about what muscular dystrophy does and then promote the walkathon. And then, of course, your approach, and your approach is, we're calling it an approach, but I think that's confusing language. I need to change that. So I'm going to change that to say call to action. So remember, when we're doing a commercial, our call to action is come to our store and buy our product. But when we're doing a PSA, the call to action is either give money for no product, or participate in this event for no product, or volunteer your time, don't get paid. So your approach, your call to action has to be very, very strong to get people to basically do something for nothing.
Given your special needs, a different neighborhood might be better.
Sorry, no vacancies. We just haven't changed the sign.
None of our Spanish-speaking realtors are here right now.
We don't have that many properties with ramp access.
You're from New Orleans, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid we don't have any.
I feel horrible about the hurricane, but when nothing is open, nothing is open.
Might not be the right
All
fit
sold out.
for what
Check
we
back
know.
next week.
We're actually not showing
Wants to talk to someone.
Only my
I'm afraid your family's
I
don't just
If you're one of the many hurricane victims who hears these kinds of excuses, the storm isn't over. If you're looking for a place to call home, remember, housing discrimination based on race, disability, or against families with children is illegal. Report it by calling 1-800-669-9777. There is hope, because there is help. Call 1-800-669-9777.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
And so real quick, let's talk about the length of PSAs. So a lot of times your production companies will volunteer to do a PSA, and they'll volunteer to do it just so they can have some really good stuff for their reel. And so they might start out doing a 60-second PSA, but they're always going to do what's called a cut down, which can be a 30, a 20, a 15, or a 10. So if you are doing a PSA for a company and you want to do a 60 because you have so much to say, then you should also include a cut down of the version. So, you know, give a station or a radio station or a television station several options. You want options for this. So you want to be able to give them a 10, or you want to be able to give them a 10, 15, 20, and a 30. That way, if they just have a 10-second slot to fill, they can use your PSA. If they have a 30-second spot to fill, they can use your PSA. So the more different versions that you give them of this PSA, the more likely it is that it'll air. So again, when you're doing a PSA, 60s and 30s are kind of what we think is standard spot times, but you always want to give them some extras. So, chances are you're not going to get a 60 aired on a commercial station, but if you give them several options, you have a much better chance of getting one of those aired.